Happy New Year. I don't know if anyone can hear me. If you can, go ahead and pipe up. I'm going to try to unmute everybody just for a second. Anyway, I'm glad you can hear me, Tom, John, and I know it's just after the holidays. I'm barely getting back from vacation myself. Hope you guys, hope you guys had a good, holiday season. I know mine was particularly nice this year. I don't know why. I was totally organized, but it's nice that that happens. But anyhow, so just hoping you guys are doing well. And tonight, I'm actually taking an example that one of our community members, he's from New Jersey area. His name's Joe. He's been a part of our community for about 18 months, and over the just before the holidays, he had a deal he was working on, and I thought it was kind of an interesting case study for us. And the jury's still out on how it's going to turn out. He's going to be presenting some new ideas to them probably next week because they didn't like the first round of how it stacked up. So, as per usual, just use the chat button if you have a question or something, and I'll try to catch it. So, this was an estate liquidation, so to speak. That's how it kind of started out. And the property, like I said, is in New Jersey. I think I'm going to make that a point because the reason that's significant to me is because as you may or may not know, in New Jersey, foreclosure can take like 3 years or something. It's extraordinarily excruciating and expensive and a long time to foreclose. So that's going to inform my sort of background decision on this whole thing. So anyway, there's a property. The asking price is $140,000. Now the guy, Joe, who's part of our community, he's a realtor, so he's been watching the MLS, and he's doing some investing, more interested in investing directly and getting in the middle of some of these deals than just making a commission. That's not really his main objective. So he's seen this property in a decent area of town. It's been listed for $140,000, but it's been on the market, look, for like, what is that? Six divided by 30. What is that? Oh my gosh, my math is so bad. So 7 or 8 months, right? So a long time. So basically, people can't get the financing, and it doesn't make sense at that price, right? So it's overpriced. That's one thing. There's a first bank loan for $40,000. There's a second deed of trust or mortgage on there for $4,000 to a private individual. So overall, they've got $44,000 against this property. Now, the person who's listed the property is the wife, who inherited it from her deceased husband, and she's the executor of the estate. But the thing that's complicated is that she's equal beneficiaries with his 4 daughters. So they were his children, so her stepdaughters. And so it's getting increasingly stressful because as the months tick along here, the daughters are starting to tap their fingers, and you know how it goes. They're starting to figure out what they could do with their share of the money, and I put the numbers over here, and we'll go over it in a second. So it's getting increasingly stressful, and the reason she doesn't have to sell the property because she has, she wouldn't have to sell it, but she wants to. Like I said, she's the executor. She needs $20,000 because she wants to invest with her son in a property that's over by where her son lives, and instead of being here with her 4 stepdaughters, which is getting stressful, she wants to move down to where her son is, and she needs $20,000 to go in on some property that she'll live in that's an investment for both she and her son. So that's what she's really needing, is a resolution of this issue and $20,000. But let's see, what happens here if she got the full price. Okay, let's just see if what everybody's wanting is even realistic. So I'm going to clear all here. And so basically, if she got 140,000, let's just pretend she was able to get an all cash offer or cash to new loan offer at 140, and let's pretend she didn't even have to pay a commission. That would factor in differently, right? So 140,000 minus 44,000. So basically, oh boy, did I do my math wrong? That is just so typical, right? Public math is not my strong point. So basically we got 96,000. I did my math wrong before. So she'd get 96,000, and then basically figuring, why did I put 0.03 here? Because I'm figuring even without commissions, she's going to have at least 3% closing costs. So 140 times 0.03. Okay, so 4,200 in closing costs, and several more thousand if there's a realtor involved, and 6% commissions and all that. But anyway, so then let's take 96,000 minus those closing costs of 4,200, and we get 9180. Okay, 9180, and we'll divide that by 5, right? If everyone cashes out, divide by 5, everybody gets 18,360. Okay, so we can see that even under the best case scenario with getting their full price, they're sitting on the market for 240 days plus. So we can see that that's a completely unrealistic number right there for everybody to split the thing, and for her, the executor of the state, the wife, to get her $20,000. Okay, so we can already see uphill battle. Obviously, if it was worth 140, it would have already sold by now, right? Especially, I don't know, in California, anything that's in a medium home price has multiple offers the first week, like the first day practically. So let's see. Going on, so now Joe, he says he's created a conversation with the lady, and finally she's agreed that, she'll sell it to him. He'll pay her 140 if she'll give him terms, right? So he's saying, I'll give you 140 as a purchase price, and I'll put 7,500 down. So let's just recreate this number, minus 7,500 down. So the loan amount will be 132.5, right? And he was going to wrap this 132.5 first note that the seller would carry back, would wrap the existing financing that's there. The interest rate they agreed to was 5.5%. So we'll put that in there. And then 132.5 we'll put in there. But and the term was 4 years with a balloon, right? So we can see that because the balloon is the same, that this is interest only. So I'll just put, that's my PV, my loan amount there. It's also my future value. And then 48, doesn't matter what this term is, but the payment's always going to be the same, right? 607.29. Other way we could have figured it was 132.5 times 0.055, right? That's 5.5%. That's 7,200 per year divided by 12. And there's our 607.29. So there's two ways to get to the monthly payment on this thing. So anyway, so that's, he had her agreeing, but we have to figure out that there's all these beneficiaries that need to be satisfied. So there's an attorney that she's retained to help her liquidate the estate. So the reason that Joe got me involved is because he wanted me to get on the phone with him, with the attorney, to explain how it would work if they do a note sale, right? Or when the other beneficiaries would get taken care of. Because initially I said, well, if I buy this note, it's going to be at a discount. So even if I buy a partial, the other beneficiaries may need to wait until the balloon to get paid off, and would that be okay? And he thought that it would. It turned out that that's not going to be the case. That would probably result in a lawsuit of some kind. But that's what we thought, that we would buy a partial and leave the rest of the money for the beneficiaries to get their part out when that balloon paid off. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, the reason he was going to do this is because Joe, he was going to buy it for this, right? Because Joe already had someone lined up to buy it for this, okay, for $155. So he's got someone who will pay $155 for this same property right now, and they'll put $12,000 down. Okay, so then we'll have a first note for $143,000 that Joe will be receiving, and in turn he'll pay the $132,500 to the lady whose husband died, and she in turn will pay the bank note and her private note, right? So that's just multiple layers of wrapping the existing financing. Obviously, you'd want a neutral third-party servicing company taking care of that, so the money gets where it needs to go on the behalf of everyone. And so he was going to charge, so here we go. It's also interest only, so then let's replace the numbers. Except for instead of 5.5%, it's 8.5%. And same balloon 4 years, right? Except the numbers are just higher. So then what's the payment? Okay, the payment's going to be 1012. Excuse me, just over $1,000 a month, with a balloon in 4 years of $143,000. In the meantime, the buyer will be working on their credit and refinance as soon as possible. It's likely that he will refinance in less than. Hi Joe, this is your deal that I'm using as the example. So I don't know if you can speak. I'm going to unmute you. Joe, do you have a way of communicating with us? No. Okay. Anyway, if you guys want to call in so that we can chat, that would be cool too, if you want to participate in the call. But otherwise, we're just kind of stuck with the chat button. Okay, so anyway, it was something like this where I think Joe thought that he would probably get an inheritance or some other thing. He'd probably get another $100,000 within 12 months, and he'd probably be able to refinance in like 2 years. But in the case that he can't, he's got 4 years to put this together, right? So, and if he gets $100,000 from somewhere else, look how fast he'll pay down his loan, right? He'll only have $43,000 left, and then he can be paying that over time. So there's so what would Joe get if this deal went through? So here's what Joe would get. He would get let's move this over a little bit. So this would be nice, right? If he gets $12,000 down from the guy, but he only had to put down $7,500. Oops. So right off the bat, like just out of thin air, he's going to put $4,500 in his pocket, and then on the monthly spread between the 8.5 and the 5.5, if he's going to take in 1,012, and he only has to pay out $607.29. Then he's going to make, look, over $400 a month in passive income, because obviously this person, he's going to make them pay taxes and insurance so that it covers the taxes and insurance. He doesn't have to come out of pocket. So isn't that nice? $4,500 out of your pocket, out of thin air, plus $400 a month passive income without any of your own money in it. That's called infinity return, right? Because you have zero money in it. And you're making $400 a month, and at the end, let's see. I mean, really, you'll see that this is an infinity return. At the end, he's gonna get, let's see, 143. at the balloon, right? When the option is exercised, he'll get 143, but he only owes the lady who lost her husband. He only owes her that. So now he's got another 10,000, kind of like in future value. He's put no money in it. In fact, he's getting paid to put this deal together. And let's say it's 48 months. Let's figure out the yield. You know, they just can't. It can't figure it, right? Because it's an infinity return when you just pull money out of thin air like that. Okay, so really sweet for Joe. And the problem was, once we got on the phone with the attorney, she was like, no, 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 no. We can't do anything that's not just a cash sale, because then the stepdaughters are gonna get mad. One of them's gonna hire an attorney and sue it, and it's gonna just eat up any money that's left over in the estate. So any questions, comments, please chat with me over there. So anyway, it was frustrating because as per usual, she was pretty much, I mean, I know she's trying to benefit and protect her client, but she's like one of those people who's already set up that it's got to be the conventional way or nothing. Kind of the deal killer attorney type. But anyhow, so then we were thinking about it some more. So here's how it would have worked, because she said, remember the original way wasn't going to work anyway. Even under the best circumstances, even if it sold for 140, each person was only going to get 18,000, and that's not even accounting attorney fees and other things I'm sure they have. Okay, so anyway, if I had bought the whole note, here's how it would go. Remember, we had so Joe was saying, gosh, how could you buy a piece of the note to give this lady at least, 20,000? And I said, okay, well, let's see if that might work. So here's the payment stream I'm buying. And I don't mind buying this because I know that Joe's turning it around to someone who's paying more. They're putting down more. And it sounds like they have good ability to pay and to refinance and have future money coming in. Okay, so I don't mind buying this, knowing that he's going to flip it to this person. Okay, and plus, if someone's in my community, I have a lot more trust in the deal anyway, just knowing that someone who's got a good head on their shoulders and who's connected to me in some way is the intermediary here. So I'm happy to consider this, especially. So here's what I would have. My monthly payment, okay, is the $607.29. Well, okay, and then the balloon of 132.5. But remember how I always do is let's figure my investment to value maximum. So it's going to be 60% for New Jersey, places like New Jersey and Florida, where there's mortgage states where the foreclosure could take an especially long time. But New Jersey is particularly stressful in that way. So max, I'm going to put down 60%. So what I did is I'm just assuming, I'm just the benefit of the doubt. Oops. What am I doing here? Clear all. Okay. Is that it's worth 140 times 0.6, right? 60%. Right there is my maximum investment to value. Now, there might be some reasons why I'd be able to be tempted up from that, but let's just put that in there, okay? In fact, I think I told the attorney something like 90,000 might be the top. But anyway, especially knowing the other things that Joe told me about the end buyer. But anyhow, so 84,000. Okay, so let me put that in. That's how much maximum I'm going to pay for this note. And let's see what kind of a yield that would be. So I had 607.29. It's a negative number. That's the payment coming in. I'll have the balloon in 132.5. And that, let's say the maximum amount of time, probably going to be 24, right? My yield will be 18.5. Okay, so if I pay 84,000 for this whole note, just the way Joe got it, then I'll make it 18.5% return. If they actually pull off the refinance in 24 months, what will happen? Wow, 30% return. Nice, right? But I have to assume that it's going out the full term. Okay. All right, but is this going to solve the problem, right? It's even worse than before, you know, and the attorney was like just crazy. She used to, I guess she had a mortgage banker's background, and she just couldn't understand this kind of a discount on paper at all. You know, she's thinking maybe 5% discount, 10% discount on the price of the note. It was kind of interesting where she was, I don't know, Joe, if Joe could speak, we'd be going, oh my gosh, you know, for having a mortgage background, she was a little slow on the draw figuring these numbers, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So if I pay $84,000 for the note, and then the estate also gets $7,500 from Joe's down payment, then here's what's available to the estate, $91,500, right? And this isn't this isn't even including their closing costs and all that. So then I minus, remember they owe a bank first, then a private second for $44,000. Okay, now the estate only has $47,500. So we know this isn't going to work, you know, obviously. There's no point in anyone doing this. They'd all walk away with less than $10,000. Okay, so then here's what I said to the attorney. Well, I'll just buy a partial. Okay, all we really need, okay, all the gal really needs, and let me see if I can put my speaker down for a second. Okay, she needs $20,000. Okay, she owes already $44,000. So basically, she needs to clear $64,000 here. Actually more, right? Because of closing costs and other things. But just to keep the idea simple, this is what I did. So let's see what would happen if I bought a partial. Oops, not that one. This one. Okay. So if I only need to bring $64,000 to the table, okay, just to solve the problem. And I'll receive the monthly payments for 48 months. I wonder, and if I only need, you know, let's even put a little bit less in here. Let's say I only need like a 16% yield. Actually, see, I'm at less than 50% of the value of the property. So let's see if I can do 16. Then how much of the balloon would I need? I would need 48 payments of $607.29 with how much of the balloon. So now I'm going to solve for how much of the balloon I need. Okay, I need $80,000 of the balloon. And then that would give me my yield. If I bring $64,000 to the table, then I get 48 of these and one of these. So then if the balloon's really, so 8, just make it 80, okay? So I would get 48 payments of 607, and I would get 80,000 of the balloon. So that leaves how much of the balloon for the heirs to split? What did that do? Crazy. I got a new mouse and it's just kind of crazy. So let's see. 132.5 is the balloon in 4 years, and minus the 80,000 I'm going to need. Okay, that leaves 52.5 for the other 4 beneficiaries to split. So divided by 4 equals $13,125. So you can see it's not going to be, you know, completely fair. Like she's going to get 20,000. She'd get her 20,000 up front, and then everyone else would be left to split. Goodness. This. What did I say it was? Basically $13,000. Okay. So anyway, even at the best, leaving the heirs to split the remainder, they're still going to feel like they got gypped. And so none of these things were going to work at all. So let me look Let's see, Malik. I'm going to look at your questions. Why can't you offer an all cash offer? Yeah, Malik, that's great. So what we did, because there's so much resistance to the owner carry and the note sale, doesn't really work for everybody. So basically, what we did say is, yeah, I mean, we said, Joe, offer 100,000. It's still not going to give them, obviously, if they do a price reduction, and we went over these numbers, and Joe did it ad nauseum with the client, and after you take out more carrying cost, I don't know how much it's costing her, PITI every month, and then you take out commissions, and then probably a price reduction with a full price note purchase. With a full note purchase at a reasonable price, we were only like $18,000 apart. That was all the difference between selling the property for $140,000 and selling the note right away, and maybe $130,000 sales price, but with like 8 or 9% closing costs, yada yada yada. So it was very, very close. So anyway, I just said, Joe, just keep it simple. Offer him $100,000. And then you can definitely make money flipping it around to the guy for $155,000, even if you have to carry, or flip it to someone for, I don't know, $110,000, $115,000 real fast, something like that. So that was one idea. Good. Any other thoughts? So then, we got off the phone with the attorney, and me and Joe talked, and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, well, definitely some problems there. But here's the one thing that came up right at the end of the conversation. The attorney says, or I think Joe brought up, she said, she's got a life estate. As the wife, that means she does not have to sell that property. She needs money, but she does not have to sell it. And so I'm just going, light bulb. I said, Joe, do a lease option with her. And then, the attorney's very quick to say, well, any option money taken, so anyway, let me just put in there. Lease option makes more sense because she can get money out of the property, but it's not a sale, so she doesn't have to split it with anybody. But the attorney says any option money taken that reduces the strike price has to be split. Okay, fine. Let's give option money that doesn't reduce the strike price, right? So no obligation. A life estate, for anyone who's not sure, means that she can own and live in or rent that property out for as long as she is alive, right? So she has no obligation to sell the property. Okay, so here's the email, and I don't know if you guys can see it. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and so then I emailed Joe, and I said, how about if you give her $7,500 for an option to buy in 4 years for $132? Okay, so give her an option. This is the same financial money. So give her an option. And then the strike price to buy it in 4 years isn't 140 minus the 75. Just it's the strike price. Okay, it's 132.5. And basically, going back to this, you lease it for $600 a month plus taxes and insurance, right? Then you master lease to the next person for $990. You can see that the numbers are very similar. And then here's how we make up. She needs $20,000, right? So how about I will basically, because I know Joe and he's part of the my community or something. How about I'm in essence just buy the next buy rent payments. I'll bring 12.5. Okay. So let's say they do the rents for 30 months. So here's what I was thinking of doing, right? So here's how it works for me. And then you're going to go, but hey, how can you secure rent payments? Okay, so hold on. So basically, I'm going to buy the rent payments, and you know, Joe as a professional will be responsible for getting me that. No future value. There's no balloon to worry about. She just needs 12.5, right? The 12.5 I would bring to the table plus the 7,500. That will make her 20 grand that she needs. She doesn't have to split any of it. Right? Doesn't have to split any of it. She's not selling anything except these rent payments. That's what I'm putting out of pocket, and for the next 30 months. And what's my yield on that? Nice, 30%. Okay, so how do I secure myself? And Joe says, I will be submitting this offer next week for the attorney and the owner. We'll keep you informed. Thanks, Joe, because I'm really curious to see. So here's how I think that could work, right? So from this, she can get her, you know, she'll get her 20, right? But she hasn't sold the property. Nothing needs to be split. And then basically, here's... I want to be able to make another one of these, so hold on. Duplicate slide. Okay, so place third TD. So here we have, what's my max ITV in the beginning was, right, was 84,000, right? So I want to stay under that. We have a first and second for 44,000. I'm only bringing in, I would place a third trust deed, because that would be my security. Like if everything goes wrong and somehow, you know, I'm not able to collect the rents, something like that, then what I'm going to do is like, remember, okay, so that would be 12, hold on. So basically I'm bringing 12.5 to the table, which is 30 payments times $600. Okay, so let's do, here's what how I would do this. Then I'll just take $600 times 30. That's the total amount of payments I'd be getting back, okay, over a 4-year period or a 30-month period. So $18,000 total is what I'm due. So that's what I would do. I would put a third mortgage on the property to protect myself for $18,000, and I might make it at like 5% straight note, something like that, just to protect me in the instance, or maybe I'll go higher. I don't know what usury is in New Jersey, so maybe I'd go 8 or 10. I don't know, but so. This will go away as soon as I get my 30 payments of $600, just because I know Joe will be doing the, you know, property management. So that's how I would do it. So what's my combined ITV? So 44,000 plus, plus, I'm really only bringing this much to the table, right? So what is that? So 12.5. My true exposure is, yeah, third position doesn't sound good, but look at that. It's 56 and 56.5 divided by 140 equals, and then you can see what my ITV, it's like even way better than before, right? I was going to bring in 64,000 the other way and 84,000 the other way. This is even lower. My yield is higher. My risk is, my list is way, so divided by 140. The only hassle will be, you know, if, anyway, so there I'm at 40% ITV, and that's awesome, right? That's the least amount of money I got to come out of pocket to solve the problem, to make a return. And yes, I'm in third position, but I don't know. I just thought this in this situation could work really well. So we'll see from Joe what ends up working out in that situation. So any other comments, questions, things like that? Anyone who wants to call in? Well, anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in, and let me know if you have any comments about like this receiving the rent payments, basically putting a third TD for the amount of the total amount that you expected to bring in. I don't know. Just curious if you had any comments, questions, concerns, things like that. Another thing that came up that's interesting, one of our other members, Ronald, there's some new thing in California with the Business and Professions Code. So I'm going to be probably doing a special issue on that. It's regarding the sale of notes in California. So stay tuned for a special session that I'll do with, hopefully I can get him to record a message with us as we go over the new code in that for California, and comments from his attorney and my comments on my end and things like that. So anyway, Happy New Year to all of you. Thanks for spending the time, and take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.